with us. He grew up there, was a member of the synagogue. His parents were there last night, a former Obama official. Joel, your thoughts about what you just heard?
Well, Eric, you're right. I mean, these law enforcement officers were heroes. They are heroes. Thank God they came in. It could have even been worse. But I have to say, you know, we have control of this. It's not good enough to just prosecute a criminal after the fact. We should be preventing these, and there are tools at our disposal, and our leaders need to stand up. They can't just go to press conferences like this and look helpless, and you can't help but feel for them. These are their colleagues that were hurt, as well as the Jewish community and the members of the synagogue. There is a lot more that needs to be done related to hate speech in this country, related to gun violence in this country, related, frankly, to tolerance in this country. And it all starts at the top. It starts with all of us. We have to do better. We need to prevent these incidents from happening. It's really just too much.
And specifically, what would you suggest?
I would suggest, first and foremost, that between now and the election, at a minimum, that all of the people running for office stop demagoguing ethnic groups, stop labeling them as enemies of the people. There has been a rise in, bluntly, anti-Semitic imagery right now in our politics, labeling certain Jewish leaders as enemies of the people, as people trying to buy the Congress. That has to stop now. If any of that shows up again, those people will be complicit in the environment that we're living in right now. They need to stop. They need to not just complain after the fact about bad words or say we wish it was better. They need to put an end to that kind of language immediately.
And do you think that tenor and the tone that we've been witnessing lately may or may not have affected Bowers, allegedly, but certainly he has this history, apparently on his social media, of anti-Semitic rants, and we have seen anti-Semitic attacks, as you say, increase recently?
There's really no doubt. There's empirical data that demonstrates that in the last 2 years, we've seen a doubling of anti-Semitic incidents in this country at an unprecedented level, and our political environment has not sought to dampen that down. After Charlottesville, the president said all sides have things to complain about, and that's not accurate. White supremacy, anti-Semitic activity, that's domestic terrorism. We need to shun it. And frankly, this political environment, it seems to be feeding off of it heading into this election, and it's very dangerous. And no, as Jonathan Shanzer said earlier, we should not be surprised that this occurred, but that doesn't mean that we're without tools to stop it.
And the president, arriving in Indianapolis for his rally this afternoon, called this an anti-Semitic act of hatred. That certainly should not have happened. He called it wicked. He called it evil. He has denounced that in very strong terms. Do you applaud that? I imagine you do. And should he continue along that line?
I'm very happy that he said that, and I believe that he should extend that to all groups, all ethnic groups, African Americans, Latinos, Asians, LGBTQ individuals. All of them should be benefiting from that kind of condemnation. We should not have an environment where we're singling out our American brothers and sisters because of difference. We need to be inclusive, and his language needs to go further than what he did today.
We don't know, or I have no knowledge about Rabbi Jeffrey Mayer, who was the rabbi there, but if you go to their website, you can see what he wrote, and he wrote this on October 9th, finally. Yes. He said, this is right after a flood in Pittsburgh. He said, there's a different kind of flood the world needs. The inhabitants of this planet must flood it with goodness and kindness to wash away the evil that has arisen. As the late Elie Wiesel stated so eloquently, the opposite of love is not hate. It is indifference. What can we do as Americans, as citizens of this proud republic that we love so much? What can we do in our daily lives to try and change what's been going on?
Well, it's fitting that the rabbi quoted Elie Wiesel, because Elie Wiesel explained for America and for the world what the Holocaust meant. And we saw the greatest threat to the Jewish community prior to the physical elimination of much of that community in Europe was the indifference, the acceptance of anti-Semitism and hate speech in the 20s and in the 30s, the allowing of that to become the norm. And that can't be the norm. This country is better than that. We know it is. We need to stop it in its tracks. We can't allow ourselves to slide into hate speech and think that that's normal, because it's not.
Joel Rubin, our thanks and our thoughts are with you, with your family and friends and the congregants of the Tree of Life Synagogue as we await the identity of those four innocent people who went to a joyous baby naming ceremony this morning and were so savagely murdered in cold blood as they stood there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arthel.